Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today's Old Testament reading is Psalms 27. I'll be reading from the King James Version. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and answer me. When thou saidst, seek ye my face, my heart said unto thee, thy face, Lord, will I seek. Hide not thy face far from me. Put not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Teach me thy way, O Lord, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies. Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. I had fainted unless I believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. The New Testament reading is from Luke 13, verses 31 through 35. The same day there came certain of the Pharisees, saying unto him, Get thee out, and depart hence, for Herod will kill thee. And he said unto them, Go ye, and tell that fox, Behold, I cast out devils, and I do cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. Nevertheless, I must walk today and tomorrow and the day following. For it cannot be that a prophet perish out of Jerusalem. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killest the prophets and stonest them that are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, as a hen doth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. And verily I say unto you, ye shall not see me until the time come when ye shall say, Blessed is he that come in the name of the Lord.
Thank you, Denny, for sharing those words with us this morning. Please join me in a moment of prayer. Oh God, as we gather here, we seek to center ourselves on your presence, to listen intently to your word, to open ourselves up to a greater understanding of your presence in our lives and your guidance. We pray that you be with us in this moment as we seek to understand and to grow in your word. Amen. There are many things to consider in the passage from Luke that we heard this morning, like why did some of the Pharisees come to tell Jesus and warn him about Herod, that Herod was out to get him? Was it because those Pharisees actually cared about Jesus? Or was it they were a little bit more worried about themselves because to stir up Herod would be really detrimental for the Hebrew people? Or what was Jesus getting at when his response was about the first day, second day, and on the third day? Was he referring to his resurrection? And what do we make about this lament that he has over Jerusalem, who has refused to listen to prophetic voices throughout their history? There are many commentaries on this passage, you might imagine, and many go off in all these different directions. But the thing that I found so compelling was this image of this hen who takes her brood under her wings to protect them. We've raised chickens pretty much ever since we came up here permanently. And they need a lot of care. And anytime I hear the word fox, as Jesus referred to Herod, and hen in the same story, it makes me concerned. We've had to protect our hens many, many times. We always do. We have a fence around them. And they're just not particularly bright. And I'm not trying to pick on chickens right now. They're great birds. But they're not known for a lot of intellect. And so they need someone to watch out for them. And I think about, children. How about little children, when you play peekaboo with them, they think you really can't see them when they cover their eyes, They learn because they're growing. They haven't comprehended that yet. Their minds haven't developed yet. Well, chickens don't ever really get that. We had one time, Erin and Ed's dog Scout, early on, chase one of our chickens, and she ran and ran and stuck her head into the rock wall. Now the rest of her was sticking out there, and she thought she was safe, and she wouldn't come out, and we had to kind of coax her out and pull her out. They don't get that. Which raises the question, in my mind, why on earth would Jesus use an image of himself like this hen? Why not an eagle? I did a word search, and eagle comes up numerous times in the Bible. References like we might know, they will rise up with wings as eagles, as I mentioned this morning. Another verse, I bore you on eagle's wings. Those are just a couple of the many. If you do a word search for hen or chickens in the Bible, you come up with one passage. This one. Let me share this week what happened to me. On Thursday, I was up. Went up in the middle of the day to check on the chickens to see if there were any eggs that needed to be collected. And I wasn't trying to be quiet. There was no reason to be quiet. I was tromping along, and I had my spikes on my boots so I didn't slide. And so I was crunching along, and I saw the bison over in the field, and I called to them and said, "Hi, how you doing?" And all of a sudden, I saw this darkness in the tree not far above the chicken coop. And at first glance, I thought, wow, that's a turkey vulture sitting up there. That's not a good sign. But then I thought, turkey vultures don't usually hang out by themselves. They stick together. There's usually a few of them. Then it occurred to me. There was light behind it, so I couldn't get a good image at first, but then I moved. There was a bald eagle sitting up above our chicken coop. And I thought, wow, I know what's going to happen. I was stuck between awe and like worry about my chickens. I took a chance. I went down quickly because I had to show Ted. Ted, come on out. You're going to believe this. There's a bald eagle sitting right there. And I grabbed some of these little mealyworm treats that our chickens like, and I scooped them up and brought them up because I know that is how I can get them back in the coop. And so that's what I did. After we got a good look at the eagle, and it flew away, I went in and got my chickens protected. And I know that if I hadn't been out there at that moment, we know what that eagle would be taking chicken home for dinner that night, I think. But we didn't lose any, I must say. It was wonderful. But there, juxtaposed before me was this eagle, this majestic eagle, and my chickens. Well, both have their own special qualities. As I said, I'm not trying to diss on chickens. I like them. But there is no doubt of which of the two is most regal, and this image of power and swift, how swift they are. But that is not the one that Jesus chose in this passage to associate with in that moment. It is rather the simple backyard hen that can't stay aloft for very long or go very high, who pecks the ground and scratches the ground for food and takes dust baths in the dirt. Yet also the one who folds her wings, or who brings her brood under her to protect them, who when a shadow of a predator comes across the sky and falls upon the ground, she calls her brood together and puts her wings over them to protect them. How comforting and how assuring. We need that image right now, don't we? I don't know how you feel, but gosh, I need to feel that sense of protection. We're exhausted from the woes of our days, the bombardment of negativity that tries to throw us off course and cause us to give up. And based on the news that we hear about how many people are dealing with severe depression, from young to old, it is obvious that there is a sense of security that is deeply lacking in our world today. The assurance of better days and hope-filled tomorrows are waning for some, for many, and perhaps we have felt that in some ways too. The darkness is intrusive, yes, but it is not all dark, really. There is light. There is hope. That's why we're here today. The image that Jesus raises up of a hen down on the ground with us is what is to bring us a sense of comfort and compassion and love and care. The hen, we know, is no match for a fox. We've seen that on several occasions, sadly. But a mother hen will risk her own life for her chicks. And perhaps that answers why Jesus shared that image. He, like the mother hen, risked his own life in order to try and gather the people around and protect them from their own stubbornness and from the voices that called them away from following God's laws of love. And the passage says they were not willing. They were not willing. They were not willing to receive the gift of love that Jesus was offering them. A love which only required that they, as Reverend Jane Hunt has said, that they would stand still in the presence of God and live into all the gifts God intended for them. To stand still in the presence of God and live into all the gifts that God intended for them. For us. Because this passage is every bit for us as well. When we miss the point of God's gift of love that opens up the world for us, when we receive that gift with gratitude, when we slow down and notice the wonder around us, when we are willing, when we are found willing, But you know, the truth is, because I think it's human nature, that when things are going pretty well, we're not necessarily willing to stand still. We've got a lot to do. We're busy people. We're trying to keep up with our schedules. We feel pretty independent in our own navigation through life on these great days, these good days. Things are going well. It is to that attitude that Jesus was speaking when he brought up this image in our story today. Jesus reminded those who were listening of their history back as they came across the desert following Moses. And more of the stories in the Old Testament, if we just read them, we'll see that time and time again, the people would turn their attention away from God because they were busy doing things. And they were feeling good about the direction they were headed. And it was when the times got difficult, when they came back and said, "Where are you, God? Why have you abandoned us?" And sometimes I think we find ourselves in those places too. Sometimes we find that we're not always willing to take that time to be still, to listen, to be in the presence of God, perhaps even beyond this place. We come on Sundays because that's a day we come to do that. How much more do we do that throughout our daily lives, routinely? And yet, I think the most beautiful part of the story, as I wrap it up, is the passage where Jesus says how often, as he's talking about Jerusalem, and as he's talking about these people that he deeply loves, he says, "How often have I desired to gather you up?" How often? In other words, again and again, Jesus conveys this message of constant love, of never-ending grace that seeks to find us, to comfort us, to protect us again and again and again. And that is the message of hope for us today. May we be found willing in this season of Lent, willing to examine our relationship with God, our relationship with one another. Be willing to be wrapped in the grace that love offers us. Willing to join with the author of the psalm when we read, "Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path." Lead us, O God, on a path of peace, sheltered in your arms.